Right now, somewhere in your body, something is quietly dying. Not your heart, not your brain, your muscles. And the strange part is, you won't feel it happening. No pain, no warning, no alarm. Just a slow, silent disappearing act that doctors have a name for, but almost nobody talks about. Most people over 60 are terrified of one number: blood pressure. They check it every morning, they take pills for it, they worry about it at night. But here's the disturbing truth doctors rarely say out loud. There is something far more dangerous happening inside the body of an older adult, and it has almost nothing to do with the heart. It's happening in the arms, in the legs, in the muscles that used to carry you up the stairs without thinking twice. Before we go further, if this kind of hidden health truth interests you, hit that subscribe button right now, because what you're about to hear changes the way you'll think about aging forever. Scientists gave this silent process a strange clinical name: sarcopenia. It sounds harmless, almost like a forgettable medical term buried in a textbook. But what it actually means is this: your muscles are slowly turning soft, weak, and thin, while you go about your normal life completely unaware. And here is where things get disturbing. Doctors have studied thousands of elderly patients, and they found something nobody expected. People with high blood pressure who still had strong muscles often lived longer and recovered faster from illness than people with normal blood pressure, but weak, soft muscles. Read that again. Strong muscles, high blood pressure, better outcome. Weak muscles, normal blood pressure, worse outcome. How is that even possible? To understand this, we have to go back to something most people never think about. Muscle isn't just there to help you lift things or walk around. Muscle is alive. It's active. It's constantly talking to the rest of your body, sending signals, releasing chemicals, controlling how your blood sugar behaves, how your immune system responds, even how your brain functions. Scientists now describe muscle as an organ, not just tissue, an organ, just like your liver or your kidneys. And when that organ starts shrinking, everything connected to it starts to weaken too. But that wasn't the real problem. The real problem is what happens after the muscle starts disappearing. Because once your muscles become soft and weak, your body starts pulling energy from somewhere else. And that somewhere else is often fat. Not the fat under your skin, but fat that wraps itself around your organs, your heart, your liver, your blood vessels. This is where the story gets darker. As muscle disappears, fat quietly moves in to take its place. Researchers have a chilling term for this. They call it muscle turning into marbled meat, just like the white streaks of fat you see inside a steak. Except this isn't happening on a dinner plate. It's happening inside a living human body. And the deeper scientists looked, the stranger it became. This hidden fat doesn't just sit there. It becomes active. It starts releasing inflammatory chemicals into the bloodstream. These chemicals quietly attack blood vessels, stress the heart, and disrupt blood sugar control. In other words, the very thing seniors fear the most, heart problems and blood pressure issues, can actually be fueled by something happening in their arms and legs. The muscles you stopped using might be quietly attacking the heart you're trying so hard to protect. But here's where things get even more disturbing. This process doesn't start at 70, or even 60. Research shows that after the age of 30, the average adult begins losing a small percentage of muscle mass every single year. Slowly, quietly, without symptoms. By the time someone reaches their 60s, they may have already lost a significant portion of the muscle they had in their 30s, without ever noticing. Think about that for a moment. You wake up one day at 65 and your body feels different. Stairs feel harder. Getting up from a chair takes a little more effort. Carrying groceries feels heavier than it used to. Most people brush this off as just getting older. But scientists say this isn't normal aging. This is a warning sign, a signal, a quiet message from your body that something deeper is going wrong. And here's the part that should genuinely concern you. Studies tracking older adults found something chilling. The speed at which someone can stand up from a chair, or the strength of their grip when shaking someone's hand, can actually predict how long they're likely to live. Not blood pressure, not cholesterol, grip strength. Doctors started calling weak grip strength a silent vital sign, a hidden signal of internal decline that most people completely ignore. So if grip strength and muscle quality matter this much, why does almost nobody talk about it? This is where the story shifts from biology into something much more human. For decades, public health messaging has focused almost entirely on the heart. Watch your blood pressure, watch your cholesterol, watch your sugar. And while those things absolutely matter, an entire piece of the puzzle was quietly left out of the conversation: muscle. Why? Because muscle loss doesn't come with a dramatic moment. There's no chest pain, no emergency room visit, no flashing warning light. It just fades, like a photograph left in the sun for years, slowly losing its color until one day you realize the picture looks completely different than it used to. And by the time most people notice, the damage has already been building for years. But here's where everything changed. Researchers began asking a different question. Instead of asking, how do we treat disease after it happens? They asked, what if muscle is actually the foundation that prevents disease in the first place? And what they found reshaped how scientists think about aging itself. Muscle tissue plays a massive role in regulating blood sugar. When you eat, your muscles act like sponges, soaking up sugar from your bloodstream and using it for energy. But when muscle mass shrinks, there are fewer sponges to absorb that sugar. The sugar lingers in the blood longer. Over time, this raises the risk of insulin resistance, one of the hidden roots behind type 2 diabetes. Muscle also plays a role in your immune system. During illness or infection, your body actually borrows protein from muscle tissue to help fight back. People with more muscle reserve tend to recover faster from infections, surgeries, and hospital stays. People with very little muscle reserve often don't recover as well. Their bodies simply don't have enough backup to draw from. This is why doctors and hospitals have started paying closer attention to muscle mass in older patients before surgery. Not just heart health, not just blood pressure, muscle. But the biggest twist was still coming. For years, the medical world assumed that muscle loss in seniors was mostly caused by simply not exercising enough. And exercise absolutely helps. But researchers discovered something surprising. Many older adults were eating enough calories overall, but their bodies were not getting enough of one very specific nutrient at the right time: protein. Not just protein in general, but protein eaten in the right amount, spread properly across the day. Here's why this matters so much. As we age, our muscles become less efficient at using protein to repair and rebuild themselves. Scientists call this anabolic resistance. In simple terms, an older body needs more protein, more consistently, just to maintain the same muscle that a younger body could maintain with less. But most older adults eat the opposite pattern: a small breakfast, a light lunch, and then a much bigger dinner. Which means for most of the day, the body is running on a protein deficit, and muscles are quietly breaking down faster than they're being rebuilt. And this is where the kitchen comes in, because the solution scientists kept coming back to wasn't a gym membership. It wasn't an expensive supplement. It wasn't a miracle pill. It was eggs. Yes, the humble egg, sitting in almost every refrigerator in America, turns out to be one of the most powerful tools against age-related muscle loss. Here's why. Eggs contain something called leucine. Leucine is an amino acid that acts almost like a switch inside your muscle cells. When leucine enters your bloodstream in the right amount, it flips that switch on, telling your muscles to start the repair and rebuilding process. Without enough leucine, that switch barely turns on at all, even if you're eating enough food overall. And eggs happen to be one of the most leucine-rich, easily absorbed protein sources that exist. Cheap, available almost everywhere, no prescription needed. But here's the part most people get wrong. Eating one egg with breakfast and calling it done isn't enough. Researchers found that spreading protein intake more evenly across the day, especially making sure breakfast contains a meaningful amount, like 2 to 3 eggs, rather than just toast or cereal, can significantly improve how efficiently the body builds and maintains muscle in older adults. It's such a small shift, almost laughably simple. And yet, for a body fighting against decades of slow muscle decline, it can act like flipping a switch back on after years of it being left off. But simply eating more protein isn't the whole story either, because here's the unexpected twist. Muscles only respond to that rebuild signal if they're also given a reason to rebuild, which means even gentle movement, simple resistance like standing up and sitting down repeatedly, holding light weights, or even just walking with intention, tells the muscle, we still need you. Combine that signal with the right nutrition, like leucine-rich eggs, and the body responds in a way that researchers describe as remarkable, even in people in their 70s and 80s. In other words, it's not too late. Even after years of decline, the body still listens. It still responds. It still remembers how to rebuild. But why does this story matter beyond the science? Because underneath all of this biology is something deeply human. We live in a world that taught us to fear loud problems, heart attacks, strokes, things that happen suddenly, dramatically, with sirens and emergency rooms. But the most dangerous things in life often aren't loud at all. They're quiet, gradual, almost invisible, until one day they're not. Muscle loss is exactly that, a quiet erosion, a slow fading, the kind of decline that doesn't scream for attention, but reshapes everything underneath the surface. And maybe that's the bigger lesson here. Not just about muscles, but about life itself. The things that quietly weaken us rarely announce themselves. They don't interrupt your day. They don't demand urgent attention. They simply continue, unnoticed, until the foundation underneath everything else has changed. Think about the people in your life right now. The ones who seem fine. The ones who say, "I'm just getting older," with a tired smile. What if some of what they're feeling isn't just age, but something quiet, something fixable, something simply ignored for too long? And what if the same is true for you? Maybe it's not about fearing aging. Maybe it's about realizing that the body is always sending signals, long before it sends emergencies. The question is whether we're paying attention, because the difference between a body that fades quietly and a body that stays strong well into its later years might come down to something as small as what's on your breakfast plate, and whether you choose to listen to the quiet signals before they become loud ones. If this video opened your eyes to something you never thought about before, let us know in the comments. Have you noticed changes in your strength, your grip, or how your body feels compared to a few years ago? Share this with someone who needs to hear it, because sometimes the most important truths are the quiet ones. And if you want more hidden truths about health, aging, and the human body uncovered like this, make sure you're subscribed to Dr. Victoria Reed, because what you don't know might already be happening inside you.